So good to see everybody again. I just love seeing everybody every single month, and I hear you guys just love coming back here. This makes my heart super happy. How do you feel, Julie?
I feel like everyone in this room is family.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Just seeing familiar faces every single month, it's so awesome.
Absolutely. Before we get going, I do want to thank our sponsor. We have one wonderful sponsor. We are always looking for other sponsors. This venue is not free. Suzanne and I actually pay out of pocket for this because we really want to do this event. And so that's why you see our logos, and that's okay. But our one sponsor that is so wonderful, and they've been with us since day one, is Bridge Capital. They will finance up to 100% of your purchase price and rehab. That is very hard to find. Bridge Capital does temporary lending. Oh, are they in the house? Bridge Capital, hello! Would you like to say anything? I'm going to bring in the mic.
Yeah.
Give us a shout out. We love Bridge Capital. Thank you for being our sponsor.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, and thanks for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here. I brought some business cards.
Great.
And we've got, I put a flyer up near the door with a QR code where you can look up some information about our fix and flip loan. We've got some really good deals going on right now, so check us out. We're happy to be here.
How much do you guys love the Savannah market?
Absolutely love it. We're loving what the work you guys are doing. Y'all are doing some amazing work out
there
here.
There we go.
Yeah, we love it.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. Welcome. I did not realize you were here. I'm so sorry. Awesome. Okay, well, tonight we have a very special guest speaker. We're so excited. I know all of y'all love creative deal finding. Like, this is kind of the new thing, off market, getting people to seller finance, all the things. You're going to hear some stuff you may know, and hopefully Zach is just going to make your head explode with some of the stuff that you don't know. So we love to learn here. So our special guest tonight is Zach Beach. I'm going to let him give you his background. And Zach, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
These two?
Yeah.
Do a double mic?
Double mic.
Double mic me up. Well, thank you. Well, all the way down from Massachusetts to Savannah. What a beautiful area you guys got here. Oh my God. Has anybody ever been up to Massachusetts? Well, we just had a whole bunch of snow. It just melted though, so you guys all lucked out. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm Zach Beach. I'm the CEO of Smart Real Estate Coach. So I'm going to give you a couple disclosures here. First and foremost, I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm going to talk fast. I was told that I had 3 hours, but I'll do it in about an hour and a half, okay? So we'll nail that down for you guys as well. We're going to talk about creative financing. I've been doing it and I'll explain our whole backstory and why we actually developed these strategies and why we use them in a very specific system. I'll share with you guys throughout that because I started about 9.5 years ago as a bartender in Newport, Rhode Island. It actually kind of reminds me of this place. Has anybody ever been to Newport, Rhode Island? Oh, it's the best. If you guys want to have drinks and sit on the water and look at yachts and look at mansions, beautiful place to be. So I did that just a short time ago, but I just want to share with you guys, you're not going to have any sound, so maybe I'll just kind of say some things in the background, but I just want to play with you guys a quick video because today we're going to talk about the secrets to creating 3 paydays on every single deal you do without cash, credit, or banks. I heard that my man over here is already doing subject twos. It sounds like some of you guys in here are doing creative deals. Have you ever done a creative deal? Raise your hand. Okay, good. So we got some people in the house that have done creative deals. Hopefully I'm going to share with you guys some different ways in order to actually maximize those creative deals. Because I'm going to go over the different strategies that we use. I'm also going to share with you guys how we exit on these deals too, specifically through a rent-own program, which I'll show you that in a minute as well. But before we go ahead and get started, just so you guys get to know me just a bit, because I've only seen a couple people in here that know me, I'll just play a quick video for you. And normally it has like hype music and it's like, but for now, You guys just get to look at it, just play your own hype music in your head. Maybe like Above It from Lil Wayne. That's usually what I like to listen to before I get started on these things. All joking aside, I do. That's like my favorite song. While this is playing, has anybody ever seen or been to any of our webinars, workshops, anything like that previous? I know Salone, we did a deal with you already. And I know Roger and Brenda showed up at another event that I spoke at, and that's why I'm here. So you can thank Roger and Brenda for all that as well. But as you can see, we are wicked smart. So I hope by the end of today, each and every one of you guys are going to be wicked smart, as you know. So today we're only going to talk about the exact strategies that we've done to do hundreds of real estate deals. We lost count, but I'm pretty close with our community. We've done almost 1,000 of these types of deals, and we're in 80 plus markets. We actually do have a deal here down in Savannah as well. So every single thing I talk about here today is going to be absolute facts. We're not going to be talking about theory. We're going to talk about actual deals here as well. And by simply just staying with me here tonight, I'll make sure that you get some free things from us, okay? Because as you guys know, and I was speaking with a couple ladies earlier, I asked them, hey, have you guys currently done some deals? I know you guys keep coming to these meetups, but implementation is going to be the biggest thing that you're going to have to take away from here. So I can teach you. I speak at events every single month, travel for this, but unfortunately it's like 95% of the room after I leave does not do anything with the information I gave them, which is extremely sad because at the end of the day, the only way we actually become real estate investors is if we implement, correct? So I want to make sure that you guys get access to seller scripts, our Amazon best-selling book. We got 3 of them, but that's our first one. Live seller calls where you actually hear us going on the phone with actual sellers. Our 7 steps to acquire real estate, because we always want to have a formula and much more as well. So here's really who this is going to be for. I always like to really walk you through this because at the end of the day, we're all in real estate for a specific reason, right? I know a lot of us like to talk about real estate, we like to do real estate, but at the end of the day, we're in real estate because of the benefits that it can give us. Can you guys all agree? Like, doing real estate deals is fun, don't get me wrong, but traveling the world is a lot better than doing a real estate deal. Or being able to send your kids to college, or being able to retire and not have to go to that job that you don't like anymore. Would you guys all agree? So here's who this is for. So as you can imagine, you guys are a well-educated audience. I know this, so some of this stuff could be redundant, could be really low, but stick with me here today as well. So supplemental income. Consistently, people come to our community because they're interested in creating enough income to eventually do something. What? Retire. Replace their current income. How many people have retired in here from real estate? Anybody? I know, Laura, you were telling me you retired in real estate. Retired in real estate. Love it. She's got the red lips going too. She knew I was going to ask her that question. IRA or Coverdell. So another huge opportunity. Once you do enough deals where you get enough income, now you can start utilizing tax-deferred entities like IRA or Coverdell. So if you're interested in that, huge opportunity. Or if you're interested in buying your own home. See, I was a bartender and personal trainer, and interesting enough, I actually could qualify for more of a loan as a bartender than I could as a real estate investor, which is absolutely insane. But what I did was, while I was prospecting and going after deals, I came across this little beauty. I reached out to the seller, a for sale by owner. The gentleman was tired landlord as well. So what I ended up doing is I ended up structuring a deal with him. I bought my first house on a lease purchase. Me and my family get to move in. That's my wife, Kayla. I'll share the rest of my family here as well in just a minute. If you've been to Rhode Island, this property is in Portsmouth. It sits on the Sakonnet River, which is an amazing area to live in. So if you're interested in buying your own home, this is also a huge opportunity for you. Is anybody in here self-employed? Self-employed, okay. So most of you, it's very hard to qualify for a loan because we all know the game, right? Pay the least amount of taxes until you need a loan. But banks typically need 24 months worth of seasoning. So now this is a big opportunity for you to do that as well. I don't know what happened, but as we walk through this, curious, raise your hand. Anybody interested in making more supplemental income? Is anybody interested in utilizing an IRA or Coverdell? I'm going to share with you guys actually a multifamily deal here in just a moment on those strategies as well. Don't worry, this happens to me all the time. I feel like it's what happens when you speak. your slides usually mess up, or the sound doesn't play, or the video doesn't play. So don't worry, this is normal. If you guys are, if you guys know anything, we'll just make everyone do push-ups for the next 10 minutes until it comes up. Okay, you guys good with that? Yeah. It's all right. We'll keep rolling through here. So when we look at, oh, look at that. It's magic. The house reappeared. I love that squad. Are you guys watching that new NASCAR show on Netflix? That was, you guys nailed it. It was probably like 4 seconds. Nobody cut anything. You guys are good. All right, so who's this not for? I always like to tell people this too. Why? Because there's many people that are going to walk in the room and they're going to be in a position where they're not coachable, right? And what does coachable mean? It means that we're willing to look ourselves in the mirror and see our blind spots. Because real estate investing, like me and Julie were talking about, it's a lonely game, it's a tough game, it's a team sport, and also, so if you're not coachable, you can't do this. Next, if you're interested in getting rich quick, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong sport if you're trying to get rich quick. You can get rich forever, but you can't certainly get rich quick when it comes to this sport as well. And also, if you're not interested in speaking with people, unfortunately, real estate is a people business. You just happen to work in real estate. And then mismanage expectations. Unfortunately, many people that I speak with, including myself, when I first got started, young 24-year-old Zach had mismanaged expectations. I thought I was going to get in real estate and I was going to make $1 million the next year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So know that this is all a part of the game. So here's what I'm going to promise you here today. Here's exactly what we're going to cover here today, and here's exactly what we're going to work through. So number one, I promise you I'm going to be able to share with you our federally trademarked 3 payday system where you don't have to use cash credit going to banks. I'm going to share with you why people in real estate don't, or most people in real estate don't make money. I'm going to share with you a predictable, improvable, and scalable business model, and I'm going to also share with you sample deals. And at the end, I'm going to present you a couple different things. We're going to have some options where you can continue your education, even some options where you continue to work with us. Is that fair? Okay. So how do we get here? So if you look, that's my father-in-law Chris, is my brother-in-law Nick, and that's myself. Yes, I did say my in-laws. I know, it's the craziest thing in the world. I have no idea why I was that crazy to start working with my in-laws, but I did because I found the smartest people in the room, and I believe that was them. My father-in-law Chris was a broker owner, fix and flip, raise the roof projects, you name it. But in 2008, he got absolutely crushed, and he had to start from scratch. So what was he doing? What he was doing was, this is good. This is really testing me if I know my slides. So what happened was he had to restart his business. So what I ended up doing is I approached him. I was a bartender and personal trainer. I said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to like real estate, but it's going to be a heck of a lot better than what I'm doing right now. I was burning the candle on both ends. I was staying up real late, and then I was getting up really early. And unfortunately, I was seeing those same people that were at the bar, and then I was trying to train. So that got old real fast. So I approached him, and that's how we got started. Because most people are getting tired and frustrated when it comes to real estate investing, so today we're going to talk about really bridging that gap here when it comes to real estate investing. Somebody like Claudia, who actually bought property in Tucson, I was explaining to somebody earlier, they said, hey, I joined a coaching program and I didn't get the results I wanted. Yeah, this lady actually invested over $100,000 before she got her first deal, and we ended up doing some deals with her, creating about $398,000. So trust me, I've been doing this a very long time, and that's why we developed this wicked smart community, because while we started buying and selling real estate, we were doing 4 to 10 deals per month on creative financing deals. So this is no money down, cash, no credit, no banks with these strategies. So a gentleman who's actually in the ex-military or was in the military and was trying to get back into civilian life called us and said, hey, I'm trying to get back into civilian life. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. So he approached us. He said, I want to learn from you guys. So that's where this entire thing developed. Because we were just planning on just doing real estate deals the rest of our lives. And then somebody approached us. So we created this Wicked Smart community. And here's part of it. We're in 80-plus markets. We do deals all across the country. This is a quick screenshot of our Slack community. And we do deals from California to South Carolina to Massachusetts, you name it. Because what we discovered throughout our process, and don't hang me out to dry here. I know a lot of you guys are fix and flippers and long-term rentals. But what we discovered through our journey was there's a lot of challenges that come with doing real estate traditionally, right? You have to personally sign on loans. When my father-in-law got crushed, who did they call? The banks were calling him because he had good credit. They were trying to get him all to sign on the loans. To this day, we have not personally signed and guaranteed on any of the loans that we've done all across the country. And like I said, approaching thousands of deals all across the country. We notice that, of course, when you're talking about these types of creative deals, you have to put down large down payments. How many of us eventually run out of 20% downs? I mean, it becomes very difficult to do deals consistently, or if you want to raise capital. I know lots of people come to us because they just don't want to raise capital. That's a whole nother skill. I'm not against raising capital, but a lot of people, that's a challenge. Maintenance and repairs, hiring contractors. I had an acquaintance of mine, he had 650 rentals. He started to sell them off on a rent-to-own strategy, which I'm going to share with you in a minute, because he wanted to lower his maintenance fees. Imagine how much maintenance 650 rentals were. And then small checks and being transactional. If you have the dream of leaving your job, it becomes very hard to accumulate enough income from rentals in order to accumulate, say, a $250,000 salary. But when I share with you guys how we do it on rent to own, it's going to make a huge difference for you. And it's all right here in this blue abyss. Hey, I've been here before. This is good. So when it comes to that, one of the strategies that we're going to talk about here today is we're going to share with you some major ways in which we have been buying and selling real estate. So some challenges that happened where when you're dealing with buyers and sellers, they don't always necessarily get what they want, right? So there's a massive amount of people, a large group of sellers that have challenges when it comes to the traditional market. So we want to really solve this problem. And when you solve a problem with a specific niche, then you're able to make some really good money. There's also buyers. It's roughly 60 to 80% of Americans or people in North America that cannot walk into a bank and get a loan. That's insane. That's a huge amount. It's only increased since the rates went up. So what did we do? We found a way to help Americans that can't qualify for loans. It's roughly, here's that 82% of the market. Who do you think we work with? Who would you want to work with if you were buying real estate? I want to work with this pool of people because every other real estate investment strategy works with this pool of people. So this is what we're going to talk about here today. So we sell on rent to own. So what is really rent to own? Has anybody ever heard of a rent to own program before? Has anybody ever heard of their neighbor, their uncle, their aunt that had a nightmare story with a rent to own program? That's because people aren't necessarily doing them correct. And I'm going to share with you why they're not doing them correct. Because we have about an 80% success rate of getting somebody from not bankable to bankable all across the finish line. So it's really just a program to help somebody get from plan A to plan B. So we developed this new way of buying real estate where we developed 3 specific paydays on each and every one of these deals because we sell on rent to own, which I'm going to share with you actually if you're actively buying real estate, which can I get a hand in the room if you're actively buying real estate? So all of you specifically, I'm going to share with you how you can actually unlock a key to be able to do more real estate deals without the barriers of traditional real estate investing. And then the rest of you were just like me. When I was a bartender, I had 0 experience. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm going to share with you how to actually get involved in real estate as well. So this is our federally trademarked 3 payday system. I want to break this down so that way when we go through the case studies, you're going to see how the money actually flows. So our payday 1 is the non-refundable deposit that we collect from our buyers. Anywhere from 3 to 10% down of an elevated price that we sell it at. So this isn't your aunt's rent-to-own program where she says, hey, you want to buy my house in 3 years? Just pay me rent and one day you can buy it. No, this is specific buyers looking to qualify for loans. And then payday 2 is the monthly cash flow. I know all of us love cash flow. It's like the #1 thing you hear in real estate, especially because we're at the cash flow meetup of Savannah. So I wanted to make sure you guys got it. And then payday 3 is the equity that you build into the deal. So eventually, when the deal cashes out, you're going to receive a nice lump sum as well. So this is how you create profit today, monthly cash flow, and equity in the future without going to banks, without getting your credit checked, and without personally guaranteeing loans or putting down huge down payments. These are our average numbers for our personal family business. Our community all across the country varies depending upon the area. So our average non-refundable deposit is about $26,000. Our average payday 2 or cash flow per property per deal is $308. And our average payday 3 that cashes out is about $35,000. So it's about $75,000 all 3 paydays. I'll actually share with you some HUDs too, which are a lot bigger than that because this is constantly growing. And this was a 20 deal look back. This is exactly what your portfolio can look like if you're out there hitting the ground running. This is 20 deals in 12 months. As you can see, we created roughly $1.65 million in today's profits and projected profits over the next, say, 3 to 5 to 10 years. This is how you actually step off the treadmill. So when you're sitting there and you say, I want to retire, this is how you can retire. Why? Because look at this. When you're collecting non-refundable deposits, it's a much quicker way to accumulate enough cash flow today to accumulate a salary. Would you guys agree? Okay, so you certainly can make this happen too, but what happens? We come to these events and there's usually 3 things on why people are not making money in real estate. And I already see some people shaking their head as well, because we talked about this earlier with a couple of people here where it's lack of implementation, right? It doesn't matter whether I'm going to teach you creative financing or Julie's going to teach you how to be a realtor or John's going to teach you how to be a mortgage broker or my man Marcel is going to teach you how to do everything. If you're not implementing it, then it doesn't matter, right? We need to be able to take these strategies and go bring them to the table. Number 2 is most of us are hesitant to get involved in real estate because we have a lack of experience. So what do? You got to borrow it from somebody that has the experience. Whether it's me or somebody else in this room, I encourage you to pair up and borrow the experience, and we can certainly help you with that. And then also the better understanding of how to actually structure these deals. I know everybody's now probably heard of creative financing in some form or fashion, but how to actually do them is the biggest difficulty for people to actually close these deals. Would you agree, Marcel? How many people bring you deals and like, hey, I have no idea how to close this deal, and you're like, hey, I'll give you like $5,000 or $10,000, $20,000, and then you make $100,000 off it, right? Okay, exactly. So you guys want to be more like Marcel. All right, because this business is 100% predictable, right? At the end of the day, what we have to do, we got to know our numbers, we got to set our goals and back it out. This is 100% a science when it comes to real estate. And then we create a necessary plan to hit these numbers. So like, give you an example, because we do this every single week with our current community. For example, if I want an income goal of $250,000 and the average non-refundable deposit's $25,000, and I want to do 10, so I need to do 10 deals, and these are our numbers that you're borrowing from. Leads per deal is roughly 40. That means I need 400 leads a year, which means that my leads per week are 9 to 10. It's not that complicated, especially if you have the ability to go actually close these deals and you have the knowledge, then the skill set, and then you bring the value to the community in order to structure these deals. Look, how do I know this? Because we have over 75 years of experience in real estate investing. I don't know any other community of coaches that has over 75 years of experience when it comes to actually training these people. Mike, thank you. I knew I liked him as soon as I walked through. I got his number, and it says Mr. I'm like, Mr. Michael. I'm like, I knew he was going to be a special guy in my life, and I couldn't. Can everybody give Mike a round of applause to keep this thing going? Oh, my goodness. He's the man. If you guys want to sell wholesale deals or fix and flips, you know who to go after. He's back there. He's that pretty gentleman. All right, so what is buying and selling on terms? It means no banks, no large down payments, and never personally signing or guaranteeing debt ever. Ever. You don't have to do it ever again. 3 ways we buy: owner financing, subject tos, and lease options. I'm going to now share with you some exactly what these are. I'm going to walk through some case studies too so we can walk through some numbers. Does that sound cool? Okay. So what is owner financing? Owner financing is when the seller becomes your bank. Has anybody done an owner financing deal before? We got a handful of people. Okay, cool, love it. It means that the title transfers, you make monthly payments to the seller, and then you get deals that has as low as 0% interest. This deal actually that we bought, $1,000 principal only payment on the deal. You can get deals. I know, you're sitting there, you're like, why would a seller ever do that? I'm going to explain it. Sit tight. Please don't leave yet. I got you guys. Okay, this is a deal that we did. It's in Auburn, Massachusetts. Source was an expired listing. We purchased it for $183,900. It was a 48-month term, so the seller's due. Their balance is due in 48 months. We sold it for $239,900. You're asking yourself, how can you actually buy a property at roughly market value and sell it for a higher value? It's because our buyers are willing and able and knowing that they're going to pay a premium on the property because we're taking it off the market and selling them on rent to own. That's how you can actually, and I'll share with you some subject to deals, That's how you can actually manufacture equity in a deal where there's no equity in it today. All right, here it goes. So this deposit was $15,000 from our buyer. We have a monthly payment to the seller at $923 plus insurance because we're going to pass along the taxes. That's a principal-only payment. So $923 a month goes directly towards the balance of $183.9. Does that make sense so far? If it doesn't, this is when we can stop them. We got a monthly payment from our buyer of $1,500 per month. That does not go towards the principal balance. It does not go towards their option. Just the $15,000 goes to their option. The rest of it is rent. Okay, that's how we're able to create a non-refundable deposit, cash flow, and then bake in equity. So that's $480 a month. So that's $23,000 over the course of 48 months in cash flow. That's what our payday 3 looks like. So remember, this is the equity that's built in the deal. We bought it for $183.9. We sold it for $239.9. So it's $56,000. We're getting $923 a month in principal paydown. So that's $44,000 on principal paydown. If you talk about an unstable market, which is most of the country, being able to hedge your bet on a property to either, number one, create a ton of equity, or number two, protect yourself against a down market, principal-only payments are a huge opportunity to do so. Okay, so we already collected $15,000, so we got to take that off the table. That's credited towards the purchase price because we're now helping a buyer qualify for a loan. So we got to share, okay, they put their down payment down. I'm going to show the bank. I'm going to go to John. I'm going to say, hey, John, this guy's got $15,000 in this deal. He's been making his payments on time. His credits continue to increase. Can you guys get this guy a loan? So when this property cashes out, $85,000 on the HUD is going to be going towards us because we still have equity in the deal. That creates $123,000 on a deal that we paid $900 down on, and it lasted 48 months. I know you're saying these are all unicorn deals. I promise you, I'm going to continue to hammer this down. If you guys take out your pad and pen, or you can do it on your phone, that's cool too. I'm going to give you guys a rule of thumb when it comes to owner financing deals. This, again, science. And trust me, I wasn't very good at it. All right, so if you can buy a house for $199,000 or higher, if you can get, and remember, these are debt-free houses, right? Because that's the only way you can get a principal-only payment on a house, debt-free. If you can get a $900 principal-only payment or higher, and you get a 48-month balloon or longer, and you sell it on rent-to-own, it's a six-figure deal. How many of these six-figure deals do each and every one of you need in order to make a massive transition in your life? Say it again. $199 purchase price, $900 principal-only payment, 48-month balloon. Sell it on rent-to-own to a tenant buyer, you'll create a six-figure deal. All right, let's go over another one. So this is California. Kyle Smith, he's a firefighter. He got this as a referral deal. He bought it for $850. 60-month term, he sold it for $929.5. He collected 10% down. And the 10% down does not necessarily mean that he collected that all at the signing. We also structure down payments over time because we want to help somebody get more of a down payment. A lot of these times you have buyers that today couldn't qualify for the 6.5% interest rate, but they could have qualified at 3%, so they just need a bigger down payment in order to get fit in the debt-to-income ratio. So this particular deal, we collected $92,000. We had a $2,500 principal-only payment. We're collecting $3,000 a month. That's $30,000 in cash flow. This deal is still currently going on. This is projected profits. As a lot of our deals are going to last anywhere from 3 to 10 years. We had a price premium of $79,000. We're going to have, if it goes the whole 60-month, principal pay down of $150,000. We already got a deposit of $92,000. So our back-end profit's $136,000. It's a $259,000 deal if it lasts the whole 60 months. Again, how many of these deals you guys need in order to drastically change your financial situation? That's when I sit up here and I say, look, if we can just help you implement this, and whether it takes you the next 3 to 5 years, which we actually interviewed Brian Tracy on our podcast, because we always said, you got to dedicate 3 to 5 years to any business. He said, no, you got to dedicate 7 years in order to master it. So this is why I say not get rich quick, but get rich permanent. Okay, this is actually a HUD. This is one of the deals that we did. I just always like to share with you guys closing documents. This one we actually just closed on like last week, so we don't have like all the the red lines through it. But this particular payday 3, which you'll see, was about 18,000. It's right there. 18,000 was the payday 3 on this deal once this property cashed out. I believe we actually had a buyer default on this deal, and we actually went and sold it on the traditional market. So that's certainly something you can always do. Any questions on owner financing before I make a pivot to subject to deals? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
How many total deals have you done this way?
We're 600 to 1,000.
What's your percentage of ones that don't buy at the end of the term and do buy?
Yeah, we have an 80% success rate nationally of buyers getting to the finish line. We have a very particular process that we walk people through. My wife was actually at 2 buyer signings today for 2 subject to deals that we place rent-to-own buyers in. We go through a very specific process, including having them sign in front of an attorney. Even though it's a formal lease signing, we have them sign in front of an attorney because we want them to understand the levity of the situation. Also, the larger the down payment you collect, the less likely they're going to default. Also, if you collect payments over time, which means you're constantly in front of them collecting down payments, the less likely they're going to default. So there's a lot of those little strategies that we have, plus that includes trusts and an LLC afterwards as well. I'll be happy to kind of explain that later on if you guys choose to. I just don't want to go too deep in the weeds, but that adds protection because of the Garden-St. Germain Act of 1982 or 84 states that you have the ability to transfer real estate to a trust for estate or tax planning purposes. It's not necessarily what we're doing, but we are utilizing that as an advantage. That's what our attorney suggested. I'm not an attorney. I'm a real estate investor, okay? Look at this. Price premium is $93,234 a month in principal pay down because this property had a loan on it. This deal cashed out at, so you had $79,000 on the back end. $124,999 was the total 3 paydays on these deals. So as you can see, just by having the ability to create cash now, monthly cash flow, and back-end profits, it does create the ability for somebody to eventually step off the treadmill, which is very unlike most other real estate structures. This is a deal that we did in Penn State, or right up near Penn State. Mallory's actually a Penn State professor in real estate and one of our community members. This is a for sale by owner. Good opportunities for sale by owners, but usually they take some time for seasoning. Why? Because they think that they can sell on their own because they're for sale by owners. We bought it. This property was a mix, right? So we bought it subject to the existing loan of $205,000. The seller held on to a $97,000 second mortgage at 0% interest, no monthly payments, and paid in a balloon in 30 months. Does that make sense? It's just more or less a placeholder. But the seller is seller financing their equity. We sold it for $316,277. Collected $37,000 up front from the buyer, $12,000 in cash flow, and projected in the next, I think we've had it for almost 18 months, for $34,000. So this deal would be about $83,000 in total profits on the subject to deal. This one did have an end date because the seller did have equity on the deal. Clear as mud? So let me state this. I know it's like a Wednesday night, right? No, is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Wednesday night, I'm sharing with you a bunch of creative financing deals. My goal for you here today is just to change your perspective on how real estate works. And then there's going to be a select group of you that are going to say, I really like creative financing and I want to study this thing more. And there's going to be a select group of you that's going to say, I never want to do this. And that's okay. But then you're going to find somebody in the room here that wants to do it and that wants to make these profits. Here's a HUD of a deal that we did. This seller wasn't actually a banker. 30-year banker, bought the property, wanted to relocate to Washington State. They actually had a HUD lien on it because they did a refinance, had a HUD lien on it, zero equity. He was going to pay $14,000 to sell this thing with a realtor. $14,000. I don't care how much money you have in your bank. Does anybody like to pay at closing? Wasn't rhetorical. Nobody wants to pay at closing. So what we did is I said, hey, how about you can just fly off to Washington State, I'll structure it this way, and you won't have to pay any money out of pocket, and I'll have you closed out. We actually closed this deal out. This deal had $77,000 on the back end as a payday 3. This is the closing docs to us. But sold it for $370. This was Sergio, so that's why I was asking about some wholesalers in the room, because what Sergio was netting in Orlando, Florida was about $4,000 before he met us. He did one deal for $49,000. Sergio's a good guy too. If you want a good time, he's certainly the guy that you want to speak with. So that's subject to deals. The next thing we're going to talk about is lease purchases. Has anybody ever done a lease purchase before? Or a lease option? We'll use them interchangeably. We like to buy property on lease purchases. It sounds way more official with the seller. And then we like to sell on rent to own, so that way the buyer knows that they're renting eventually to own. So what is it? It just means that we're going to go ahead and structure a deal. We're just going to control it. This doesn't mean we're going to close on it. A lot of our community members that are just brand new, especially in states that have a lot of closing costs associated, we structure a lease option deal because we're still going to sell it on rent to own. Unless you're in the state of Texas, you can't sell it on rent to own. That's where you're going to do wraps as well, and subject to deals. Title does not transfer, and then we just make payments on the seller's behalf. And then we're going to control the property with a clouded title, so that way they never go sell it to their uncle. So here's a case study. So I want to share with you this as well, because there's a structure that I'm going to share with you on how we do it that actually still allows you to get principal pay down on the deal, which is a huge opportunity, because if you don't structure it this way, you're going to see that you're going to lose out on a lot of you're going to lose out on a lot of profits. So when we bought this property, this was in Chicago, Illinois. Brian, he was a traveling elevator salesman. So yes, I know you guys are dying. He did have his ups and downs. But he had a really good elevator pitch. Personality. That was good. Thanks for the participation. We bought this property. So in the state of Chicago, you actually have to pay, I think it's either state of Illinois, you actually have to pay, I think it's 6 months up front in arrears in taxes. So it's really expensive to buy and sell real estate there, even though we all know you're going to get more tax benefits from depreciation. And it makes it a better long term. But when you first get started in real estate, you might not want to put that much money up front and when you're doing these deals. So here's what this deal looked like. So we bought it. We got 12 grand down, and then we got first month's rent. So here's another structure that happened. This is one of our core values, is to constantly innovate and improve. We had a conversation with some other people that were other coaches just like us doing real estate deals, and they said, hey, try this in your contract. Put in your contract that you don't pay the seller until the buyer's been in your property for at least 30 days and collect first month's rent. Because when and if you're using our contracts, all of our agreements are actually contingent upon finding a third-party buyer unless you take it out. So talk about trying to pull liability off the table. We don't actually have anybody commit to making monthly payments on this property until we already have a buyer in the house. So collecting first month's rent, if you're doing 12 deals a month at $2,000 a rent, that's $24,000 extra I just put in your pocket. You're welcome. Plus we were collecting $15,000 over the course of the term as well. Monthly payment on this is $1,850, collecting $2,196, so that's $346 in cash flow. Price premium is $54,000. We got $450 in principal pay down every month, because as we're making the payment on the seller's behalf, that principal balance is going to go down. So here's what I was talking about earlier. All of our agreements state that we buy the property for the exact mortgage balance at the time of financing, plus we lock in the seller's equity. By doing it that way and not buying it for a specific purchase price, we have the ability to collect and benefit with the principal pay down even though we don't own it. Oh, I had an O back there. That's good. I was waiting for that. You're the guy. You're the one. He did the O. This is good. I told you guys I'm from Massachusetts, so if I'm not messing with you, then I don't like you. Okay. So we already collected $27,000, so our cash out payment is $44,000. So this deal is $85,000 in total profits over the course of 36 months. Questions on lease purchases?
So what kind of balloon are you doing like on a lease purchase? What does that look like?
Yeah, so on a lease purchase agreement, the way it's structured is we have the option to buy the property at that price on and before a specific time frame. So it's not necessarily a balloon because title is going to stay in the seller's name. But yes, it'd be an option on or before a specific time frame. Our average is like 3 to 5 years, but we've done ones as long as 10 years before. And then what we do is we place the buyer in the house, of course, earlier than we would have the option to close. So this buyer was in the house. Let's say we would put it in the house for 30 months in case the buyer would default. Now we have the ability to pivot, if that makes sense. So obviously the longer the time frame, the better the deal, right? On a lot of these deals. Here's another deal we did. This is in North Carolina, so I wanted to make sure we got some deals in the South. This is a for sale by owner. We bought it for $349 as the balance, and we locked in the seller's equity at $175 for 60 months. We sold it for $599. $60K up front. I mean, look at this house. It's a gorgeous property. These properties that we're buying are nice, move-in ready homes, but you can certainly do deals that require some work. We sell those as handyman specials. The biggest or the most heavy thing that I ever want you to carry when it comes to creative financing is your pen. Okay? I don't want you carrying around a hammer anymore. All right. This payment was $1,600. $24.99 is cash flow. It's $900 a month. As we scroll down through, I think it's $155,000 in total at the end of the day when it comes to this structured deal. So who are these buyers then, right? We're going to start talking about like who these sellers are and who these buyers are before. That's another HUD. I think we got, can't even see it, $51,000 at closing on this deal. It's Mike. I don't know why he structured it this way, but he just used our Quantum Leap System course and was able to structure a nice little deal there as well. So why would sellers sell to you? I know you got to be asking this question. So number one, sellers want to maximize their price. Because when we're buying properties on creative financing, price is just one of the terms that matter. It's not everything, right? In most transactions in real estate, price is like the thing. It's just part of the deal with us. Why? Because we have time. Time is our friend. Number two is creating cash flow, right? So if we have a tired landlord who's sick of dealing with tenant toilets and trash, but they still want cash flow, then selling a property to somebody like myself or you now, because you guys are all wicked smart, you're able to provide cash flow for them and you get to get cash flow on the deal. So now you actually get to allow them to step away and give them the benefit that they wanted, right? They wanted retire, they wanted cash flow, but they didn't want to deal with all the excess stuff. So they get the benefit of being a landlord without all the negatives. Estate or tax planning purposes. I'm going to share with you guys a commercial deal that we did. It was actually our commercial building. The seller literally had a sign in the yard that stated they wanted to do owner financing because he didn't want his family to have to deal with actually managing the property, but he wanted to pay the estate. He still wanted them to have that cash flow. And then of course, other personal reasons like death, divorce. We have lots of that happens. Debt relief happens a lot as well, where people have two houses. They thought the house was going to sell, and now it's not. One of the deals I was talking about earlier at the 2.25% interest rate, military family relocated to Alabama, probably has been sitting vacant up in Massachusetts. Interest rate's great for me, but when they were trying to market on the traditional market, they just couldn't get somebody in there. So we went ahead and placed a tenant buyer in there as well. So huge opportunity there. So these sellers you're going to find from expired listings. We love expired listings because they've been on the market and the market hasn't given them what their answer was. For sale by owners. Of course, niche lists if you're out there doing mailers. And then referrals. One of the deals that I bought actually was another gentleman in creative financing, but they were wholesaling for a fee, which you probably see on Facebook all the time. I mean, I have probably 4 or 5 deals that I'm working on, all from Facebook. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. So when the seller sells and you're putting in a buyer, renter buyer,
Yep.
so you're agreeing to pay them 5 years from today. Is that right?
Yeah, so if my option is, or a balloon for the seller, yeah, it's either going to be, I'm going to cover all their debt and I'm going to tell them I'm going to cash them out at a certain price or a certain equity amount in 5 years. I then work with my buyer to get me cashed out and then I cash out the seller. So here's some buyer benefits. So buyers get to enjoy their home while they're during the lease period. I mean, I luckily get the benefit from that as well. I wasn't bankable at the time, but I get to live in the house, appreciate the house while I worked on my financing. I actually never ended up buying that house. I actually sold it before my option was due. About $113,000 in profit on that deal. has time to qualify for a mortgage and save more, build up their credit for enhancement, lock in their price today. And a lot of these deals, you can actually do wrap mortgages as well, where you then become the bank and you can actually finance them, especially these subject to deals. All right, so these buyers are self-employed, had a legitimate hiccup in their credit, job change, sideline buyers, so people that never ever want to go qualify for a loan. We have a woman in one of our houses. It's a nice duplex. She owns 2 businesses. She just pays us chunks every couple years in order, so she never has to go get her own loan. And then let's also talk about just those buyers that could qualify for loans at 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 6.5%. Can't qualify for loans today. We actually had people, we didn't accept the buyers. They were relocating from San Antonio, Texas, or in the military up to Massachusetts, and they simply just want to get into a property where they could start working towards it while and one of their hopes was that the interest rate will go down. So then when they actually buy the property in 2 or 3 years, they're going to probably get a better interest rate than they are today, but they get to still enjoy the property and live in the property throughout that time frame. So we find these buyers from online marketing, local signs. I know you're gonna kill me here. It's the like sign in the yard that like you could have hand wrote that says like rent to own this house. We actually had a mason that drove by this house every single day on one of the first deals we did. There was a realtor sign in the yard. He never called because he couldn't qualify for a loan. As soon as we placed the sign in the yard, within 14 days, we had a $20,000 non-refundable deposit. There are so many people out there. You just never know who's looking to buy in that neighborhood. And then, of course, referrals, mortgage lenders, realtors. Those are amazing referrals because you guys are always going to know who can't qualify for a loan. Can you buy these in other asset classes? So this is a 4-family. We bought for sale by owner. We bought for $259,000, $1,000 principal only payment. We had $735 in cash flow. Of course, this is not a rent to own, right? I'm just sharing with you how to buy real estate with creative financing. How many people want to buy multifamilies in here? Okay, everybody, except for that table. No, it's okay. There's no judgment. Judge-free zone. It's just everybody else gets them. So buying multifamilies, it's a huge opportunity if you have the ability to buy a piece of real estate without going to a bank, if possible, because a lot of the bank loans right now don't make a ton of sense unless you're putting down a large amount of money. There's a deal that I'm working on right now. We're working on underwriting it, where we made a cash offer on 28 units, but the number was like $400,000 less than what the seller wanted. But the seller was willing to do 20% down on this piece of real estate and seller finance the rest. These deals are coming up all the time. Working on a duplex, say a small one, a duplex right now. Seller just wants, he has a mortgage on it. It's got good cash flow. It's like $1,000 a month in cash flow, but he's sick of dealing with tents, toilets, and trash. So I said, why don't we put down a small down payment and we'll work on the deal. Now he gets a step away. So these happen all the time. If you're looking for a commercial building, we're creative financing specialists. So we couldn't have gone and got a traditional loan on a building, right? I mean, that would be against our religion. So instead, we bought this property from that gentleman. We actually end up structuring, when this comes back, I'll share with you guys the HUD. We made, on this deal, we got to move in, we got to have tenants in the property, we got to put all of our offices in there for our companies, and then, here, we made 108, 104 on that. And then what we end up doing is we improved the property. This is right in Newport, Rhode Island, and we end up cashing this thing out. We bought it in November 30, 2018. We sold it on September 2023. $750,000 in equity was in that property. You want to see, let's look at the terms on this deal. Bought it for $550. Seller financed $515 at a 5.21% interest rate. Can anybody go get those terms traditionally right now? Just know that the skill set that I'm sharing with you here today, whether you use this for one deal or you use this to build a business, it would be a lost opportunity if you guys let this stuff pass you by. So I'm going to share with you guys our solution. As I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that you have things that you can either get for free, or if you want to invest in yourself, you certainly can do that too. And I also want to share with you how you can potentially work with us as well. Let me walk you through this. just play a quick video for you on one of our main products. And yes, you don't get the hype music, which is kind of sad. Anybody want to? Anybody beatbox? It's like, yeah, look at us. I want to show you how to buy real estate. Yep, that's Zach in 28. Mike's the only one that gets to really enjoy this whole thing, but he's worked for it, so. Everybody loves a good awkward silence. 100 videos, wow. Surprises myself every time. Let me walk you through this. I want to make sure that you guys have the ability to go invest in yourself. So number one, in Mod 1, we're going to go ahead and launch and implement our Quantum Leap system. So I saw agents, wholesales in the building. I'm going to show you how to actually attach that to your current business model. So that way we stop letting deals that don't fit inside your box right now go to waste, because if we can create 3 paydays on 1 extra deal every single year, it's going to automatically pay for your marketing. And then I'll show you how to be able to launch in any place that you are in the world, or Savannah, which we like Savannah. Creating a trackable, predictable business. So remember I shared with you guys the predictability model. We're going to actually share with you our numbers, and that way you have the ability to actually walk through it and create your own numbers. All of our lead generation, we actually create an entire document of our expired dialing process, so you could walk through an entire list of documents and really be able to generate leads, which is the foundational part of every business. All of the scripts, I know that the scariest part when it comes to real estate investing is actually talking to sellers, or believing that you can communicate with sellers and actually solve their challenges, because you certainly can, I promise you that. How to structure sign-out deals. We didn't talk about this, but these are actually deals that it's almost like wholesaling, a lease purchase agreement. It's actually our first 11 deals we did were all sign-out deals. And then we're going to dive into an entire module, including all of our contracts, step-by-step process, and owner financing. The next one we're going to do is going to be lease purchases, so you have an entire module on lease purchases as well. And then an entire module on subject to deals. I know we went over, 3 deals. We got to really educate you guys as working through this process. And then as we roll through Mod 9, we talked about rent-own a lot here. So now we really got to be able to implement that process. My brother-in-law, Nick, who's actually an agent for 10 years, has been doing this. He actually helped us go from our average non-refundable deposit from like 10 grand up to averaging almost 30,000. We tripled it. So you have access to that. And then, of course, becoming a transaction engineer, because the number one question we get once your business is up and running is, how do I know which deal to put in which bucket? So we'll walk you through that as well. And then, of course, all of our contracts. We've spent over $20,000 on all of our contracts. We want to be able to give those to you guys today to be able to actually walk through that as well. So if you literally just bought this for the contracts, you've already won, I promise you that. By simply going through this, you'll actually get certified with Creative Financing Real Estate Association. Rick, that I was talked about earlier, 2 of those $100,000 deals that he did, he averages $100,000 on a deal right now. He got it specifically from Creative Financing Real Estate Association because the seller asked him, why should I go with you versus somebody else? So I'm certified as well. So if you were to just go on our website today, you would buy it for $14.99. That's what we sell it. We've been selling it that for 10 years, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't fly all the way down here to only get like one of you guys access to it. So we want to make sure we threw in a bunch more as well. So we have over 150 live seller calls that we did. So you can literally listen to us on the phone talking with sellers. I want to give you access to that. We typically sell that for $500. On the buyer side, we have over 50 live buyer calls, so I want to make sure you guys get access to that product as well. We typically sell that for $500. We have our live annual event coming up. Our tickets are early bird special right now is $199. It's going to be in Boston. We have a 2-day in-person event. We get to lock arms with real estate investors all across the country that are doing just creative financing deals. This is where we really specifically nailed down. So I want to give you a free ticket to that as well. And then we do run virtual events each and every month as well. We typically sell those tickets for $97. Again, I want to be able to meet you where you are. If you're really getting after it, let's get after it and step into it. If you're just scratching the surface, let's do that as well. We'll make sure you get access to an advisory session as well with our team. We have weekly trainings every single week as well. I want to make sure you get access to be able to jump on those with us, where it's either me, myself, my business partners, our vendors, where we really dive into real estate investing and go over deals. And then the Seller Specialist Program, which is actually my journey that went from 0 real estate deals to run an entire acquisition side of creative financing, doing 4 to 10 deals a month. So I want to give you access to all of that as well. And we put together a really nice package for you guys. And we typically wouldn't do it at this low a price. So I wanted to give you guys that entire access for simply $500. All you got to do is go to smartrealestatecoach.com or pull out your QR code. If you go ahead and pull out your phone, you can grab that. I'm gonna give you guys a couple more links as well. But smartrealestatecoach.com/Savannah's Next Steps. And of course, it does come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you got 0 risk when it comes to learning how to educate yourself when it comes to creative financing. Because at the end of the day, if all this program did was help you get 1 additional deal in your entire life, or buy your own house, or to get many deals each and every month, you won at the end of the day. Because this is all about building a lifetime skill set. Once you can do real estate transactions through creative financing, you can apply this to anything that you want in life. You can buy boats, planes, houses, apartments, any type of structure that you're looking for. So again, I wanted to make sure you guys get access to that for $500. But I do know that there's going to be a select group of people in this room. And when I typically fly down to an area, I'm always looking for at least 1 or 2 people to work with and do real estate deals with. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got those that select group of people that really want to jump on this train and really utilize this business and start working with us. I want to give you guys access to that as well. So we have our Jumpstart program, which does include the entire 3 payday bundles, but then we include weekly coaching calls, weekly virtual events, a 3-day in-person boot camp. We actually fly up to our office and we make calls with you, with your sellers, deal structure on the spot, and create an entire strategy with you for your business, access to our Wicked Smart community, open office hours as well, and we'll do all that for a simple payment of $3,000 to work with us. Typically, we sell this, as you can see, $29,000 value there. Some commonly asked questions that I get that I just want to run through with you guys in case you didn't think of them. Do I need money to buy real estate without cash or credit? Of course not. I think we covered that here today. If you have 0 experience, you'd be just like me. Yeah, you can be just like me. You can get started in this. And how much time does this take each week? Actually, most of our community members and people that we buy real estate with, they're doing this as part-time. We're talking like 1-2 hours a day, some time on the weekends, which is pretty much like every other real estate business model out there. Of course, it's legal. We're actually doing some deals in this area right now. And then what kind of support do I get? Once you're in the program, I walked you through, you're getting daily support between that and our Slack community as well. We discovered how we're going to find sellers. Once we have this house, we're going to sell it on rent own, or if you have other strategies, you can certainly exit out via rentals as well. We find these buyers with those couple different strategies we talked about in Mod 9. Then, of course, you can continue to work with us. We have other ways that we work with you long-term, which we have a select group of people that we buy real estate with in their market. So I did want to make sure that you guys did get access to this free material as well, so we wanted to include it all on the same link. We made it really easy for you. So getting access to the seller scripts, Amazon best-selling book, live calls, lead gen, 7 steps, and a virtual ticket to our event. Just smartrealestatecoach.com/Savannah Next Steps. And I threw both of these up here, so in case you want to take a dip or you actually want to dive in, you can get access to all that information by simply pulling out your phone. I'm happy if you want to do it now, grab your QR code or go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Savannah Next Steps. Thank you guys.
Thank you. I learned a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Can I quiz you?
Please. Me or them?
You.
Oh, sure.
I was thinking as you were talking, you got my head going, and that was fantastic. I have a deal that I want to sell creatively. Okay. And I was like, I should ask Zach. And
let's do it.
Mike and Marcel are going to kill me because I've been hounding them about this all week and they're sick of it. But Plug your ears. Sorry. So
Well,
true
hopefully I
story.
pass.
It's complicated,
Okay.
okay? But I really want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
You're an expert on this. I understand creative financing, but I've really never done it other than a few seller finance deals. So
Sure.
I'm a little baby. So I have a hotel that I probably don't talk about much, but it's a boutique hotel, 18 units.
Okay.
It's meat on the bone. It's
Okay.
cash flowing, and I'm ready to be done.
Okay.
So we're willing to seller finance.
Okay.
But there is a loan,
Okay.
4.9%,
Okay.
5 years left. It's a balloon.
Okay.
So how would you structure that deal?
There's a couple things you could do. One, you could try to get a net lease so you still get to keep it. Just have them manage it, right, and cash flow that way. If I were you, I'd try to do that first so then you still have depreciation on the property and ownership. Secondly, I would just do a 3-year owner financing balloon with them so that way you have 24 months in case you deal with any challenges and let them refinance.
Okay.
I typically wouldn't sell anything on owner financing unless you're getting 20% down on the deal. There's no reason why you can't get, if 6.75% is your residential, what's the comparison for the commercial loans right now?
John?
Okay, 8? Okay. If you didn't have a balloon, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I didn't have a balloon versus what you have a balloon. So you have a balloon, I would try to make it advantageous for them to get you cashed out. So I'd probably sell it below commercial because you make it really attractive, and I try to get as much money down as possible. So it's like, I'll do 7.5 if you can give me 20 to 30% down. I think that's reasonable. If you didn't have a balloon, I would also stay below that commercial rate because you don't want them to refinance. Like in some of our residential wraps, like right now I could sell, like say the 2.25% interest rate subject to deal I have, in like 2 years from now, I can sell it at 6% and still make a spread. And it would be more advantageous for that buyer to come to me than to go to a bank. So it depends on if you want to get them cashed out, which is short term. I want as much money down as possible so that way they can refinance more quickly. But you can also know this, you can do installments, right? How much is this thing cash flowing?
Depends on the season. It's very seasonal.
Okay, well let's just do rough numbers.
1,000 a month.
1,000 a month, 12 months out of the year. What's the purchase price?
$650.
Okay, $650. Okay. The cool thing about creative financing is I'd bake in installments throughout the course of the time frame. And if it's $650 on a hotel, I mean, ideally, if you could get somebody to pay you all the way down to if you could get nice installments during the high seasons, what is the potential for the property?
Well, if they were to make it more bougie, there's a lot of potential. It's at a very basic level right now.
Okay.
But if they made it more fancy, they could also up the rates. So there's room there. It's the
Yes.
only hotel for miles.
Would it be they could double the 1,000 to 2,000? Does that be too high?
I'd have to run the numbers. It's part of the year, yes, there's potential.
Well, I guess my point would be if they could get you above, if they could pay you everything above and beyond what they're willing to cash flow, that means you could take down another 12 grand per year. And so if they come down 20% down, then you're taking another 12 per year, then you're getting up to 25, 30% by the time they get there. So I'd take installments as well.
Okay.
Is it harder to foreclose than it is to evict in this state?
The hotel's in Wisconsin, and I'm not
Okay.
sure.
That'd be something I would check out because you got to know what's your downside.
Okay.
In a lot of our states, especially up in New England, it's easier to evict than it is to foreclose.
Right.
That's why we sell on rent to own first and then do owner financing because now I know somebody that I know, like, and trust is now going to be the bank versus going directly to bank. So, the thing is, you got lots of cool options.
It's interesting. I want to tell you, you answered it almost exactly like Marcel. He was like, lease to own. And I'm like, but I don't want it back. So
I know, but you got to think about the downside, right? Because it's a lot easier for you to get it back to sell it in that scenario. 5 years is tight, especially on owner financing. That's the reason why I'm kind of going back and forth on this. So if I were to sell it, I'd want the most amount of money down. What do they need for a down payment typically, let's say on that loan? Yeah.
25.
20-30%.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's not working at 6.5 or 7 and 8% right now for them to cash flow. My guess. What's your loan on it right now?
The loan's at 4.09.
Oh, okay. Is there a way for you to get an extension on that loan?
I don't know.
Because if you could and you can keep it around that rate, then I would get a much longer term and then I would sell it on a wrap at like 8% and have a 10-year now. Even if you got it at like 6, you could still sell it and make a 2-point difference.
Yeah.
And you're selling it at, if you think it's worth 650, I'd sell it at like 7 right now because they don't have to go to a bank. So now you get to create a nice spread for a long period of time. Now you get to become a bank. So now we just took a deal that could make you $100,000 to like $250,000.
Okay, final question. I'm sorry, I need details. So half of the sale price is my equity and half is the loan from the bank, right? So do I have them write 2 checks each month or just 1 check and then I make the loan payment?
Good question. So it always would go to you. You would then service the debt. So if you sold it on say a net lease, then they're going to pay you rent. You're still on title. If you're selling it on like a wrap mortgage, then you create a new loan. That loan is also going to service the original loan. So you like create that like 8% loan. You have to service 4. You're going to collect the 8, and then it's going to service the other loan. You can use a service loan provider as well to make that happen.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I threw a hard one at you. It wasn't like a single family house in Detroit.
Well, it's all numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the reality is a single family house versus a multi-unit property is not much different. It's just the numbers at the end of the day. You might be dealing with a different end buyer, which could be true. So maybe your exit's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's deal structuring, which is just, this isn't osmosis. This just takes time. That's why I was saying, it's like, if I taught you all this stuff today and then you leave, I almost feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I didn't offer you ways for you to educate yourself or to do deals. Because for you to now go off and like try to complete this on your own or try to now take YouTube University and try to make these deals happen, it's just not a reality. Like if you're serious about creating financial freedom, then you got to get serious about investing in yourself to make something happen. Warren Buffett said the biggest investment he makes is in himself. That's the reality. Cool. Thank you guys, and appreciate you all for allowing me to speak with you here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
And
We
thanks,
really
Mike.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
He made it happen.
Mike, you have a future in
Oh my God.
in VA work.
Yeah,
That was
lifesaver.
amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really hope that you all enjoyed yourselves and had a great time. And as you know, we've been trying to have a meetup every single month.
Cool.
And everybody seems to love each other so much that we've been also throwing in a breakfast every 2 weeks. So hope you're interested. If anybody has not joined us for breakfast, you cannot beat the First Watch breakfast. So we will put it up on Cash Flow Savannah Meetup Facebook group. We're going to put it up on social media, but our next breakfast will be at First Watch in Pooler. That's where it always is. We love it there. At 7:30 a.m., April 24. That is a Wednesday. We do typically do it on a Wednesday. So it has been such a pleasure having Zach. And thank you for flying all the way down from Boston. And Roger and Brenda actually are friends. There they are. They've helped us bring Zach in. And thank you guys. Welcome. We have a lot of out-of-state visitors here. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to welcome them. Jean disappeared, but Jean is here. There she is from Miami. And Roger and Brenda are here from Boston. Anyone else here from out of the area visiting with us? We welcome you. Actually, Zach is from Florida too.
Where are you from?
Jacob?
The other Zach.
The other Zach.
The other Zach.
We have 2 Zachs tonight. So anyway.
You look just alike, though, so I know you guys all just get confused.
They do. They look very much alike. What do you think, Suzanne?
I love it. Thank you, Zach. You are a very good speaker, and you kept on very good sport when the projector went out.
Just the universe testing me.
You fill in the gaps very well. Thank you.
Thank you. I want you guys to know I wanted this, have a group and so much. And meeting Suzanne and her, that we started this together from literally nothing. And I can't thank you enough. Like, it's been a pleasure, and we really love you guys. And we're going to miss you, and I hope you'll visit. And, anyway, but thank you for everything you've done. I really, really want to thank you. Please give her one more round of applause. Thank you so much for coming. Please network, talk. We won't disturb you again. We do have to be out before 9, so just be aware of that. But please, thank you for coming, and please come back next month, and we'll see you on April 24th.